Alright, good afternoon everyone. Today is Wednesday, the 3rd day of September, 2025. So, I have some things that I want to show you today and things to talk about. I've been talking with some people about options, and about a year ago I got into options a little bit with what we do, and how you can use the features that we had back then to trade options, but now we have, even newer and improved things for trading options. We didn't have a swing trade feature a year ago. So I want to show you that, and then another thing that I've created down here. I did this after last week's meeting, so I think I did it on Thursday last week. I created this. I'll show you that, and show you a few other things. Alright, that's the new feature, Wayne. You just have to refresh it. Alright, I actually made a change to it last night to make the white default. But down here in the TV Trades range trigger, it is right here. The TVT-High and TVT-Low. It is white by default. I actually made the white by default last night. No, it's not actually how. The SPY is just one that I can show you, but I can show you a whole bunch of different ones. There's the ROW, the QQQ, there's the UDOW, a couple other ones that I trade, but I can show you that one. I want to show you a few other things about options, because some people, some of you guys that are in here right now don't know a thing about options, and I know enough. I don't know everything there is to know. By far, I don't know everything there is to know, but I know enough about options, and I know how to do a few different strategies with it. So there's like zero cost to the options, but that's not what I'm going to get into here. The question was, is the SPX the only index I trade in options? And Wayne's question was, how did I get the white on the TV Trade range trigger? Okay, so the TV Trade range trigger, guys, there's a new one. You should have, right now, if I save this and I go to one of these other workspaces that I haven't looked at in a little while, maybe this one. You see it's got the little purple circle right there? That little purple circle means there's an update available. If you click on that, you can check what's new and see. And the latest update I did was last night. It was this one right here. 11 hours ago, I changed the default TVT-High and TVT-Low lines to white. And here, 5 days ago, is when I actually added those. And I made 50% retrace on by default. Okay. So that is how you get those things. All you got to do is refresh it. Hit the purple, whatever it was. Where were we just a minute ago? We were in this one. No, this one. This one. If you click on the little purple thing right here, that one, you can do check update on all charts and just do update to latest version. Okay, when I do that, you'll see it's going to change this right here. Probably. There it is. Just changed it. It added a couple things on there that I didn't really want, but but I will get rid of those. There. Right. There's something else I'm working on in here, and I'll show you guys that in a few minutes. Okay. But for right now, I'll just hit save on this, and we'll go back out here to TV Trades. Now, the markets have been really crappy today. When I say crappy, I mean I was able to get the goal for the day early on, and things were going pretty well early on. But as the day continued, they got more and more complicated to trade. Like right here, if we would have gotten a down close on that, that would have been a perfect trade. This down close went too high, so it's not going to be a trade right there. On the yes right now, a down close on this bar would be a trade. Alright, we're on a 7 range. But yesterday, the Russell was so wild. This morning, the Russell was so wild, I went to a 19 range on the Russell this morning. Alright, because it was just all over the place this morning. Yesterday, the NQ was so wild, I went to a 47 range on the NQ yesterday, because it was wild. So I've been changing the time frames based on the volatility of the current market conditions. Okay, so I'm back to the normal stuff that I do right now, the 9 here, 9 there, 7 there, and a 19 here. But just so you know, there haven't been a ton of trades today. I mean, I did 30 trades I think this morning, but after I got that goal for the day, I wish I could have stopped then. I got it on the first trade this morning. Now, all that to say this, there's going to be a trade here on an up close, 31.25 up to 36.25. Okay. 31.25 to 36.25 on the NQ. It'll come out of the oversold with a red background. I totally said that backwards. I'm glad it didn't fill. Cancel. Okay, I'm glad it didn't fill. If that were a long trade, if it were a blue background, that would have been a trade. However, the ES did give the trade. So the ES gave a valid trade right here. Sorry. Let's see. Maybe it's me that's been bad today, not the markets. Anyway, back to this. Down here, the thing that I added with this, guys, so you can see a little closer here. Hang on, I did get that ES. And we're going to stop to break even on that. Here it is. Sorry. I had a little bit more profit in it there a minute ago. I'm just going to lock in a couple of ticks on that. So that's $250 right there. And we're out with that. So let me keep track of this stuff. Let me keep track of this stuff that I'm doing here today. So far that is ES, and today this is 2. And this is 9.3. Alright, so we'll put that down. I had one trade there. The NQ is almost ready to give us a trade right here. It's going to hit the midpoint and drop. We're ways away from trades here on the Russell and on the gold. The gold is actually a little closer right now. We were ways away, but we just had that gap up right there. Now, if we get an up close on this bar, it's going to hit the midpoint, and then we need a down close on the next bar, because that'll bring it into the overbought. You see what I mean? If we get an up close, that will go into the overbought. We didn't get the up close. It still went into the overbought. So it's not a trade here yet. It still has to hit the midpoint and give us a down close. It just filled this gap right here. You see that? But it still doesn't hit the midpoint, so it's not a trade yet. This didn't turn out to be a trade over here either, because it never hit the midpoint. Now on the gold, we didn't actually hit the midpoint right there, but we came out of the overbought. Now the thing about this kind of, where it doesn't actually hit the midpoint, you could sell it on a pullback right here. That would put your stop up above it right there. Okay. Sometimes if it's really close to the midpoint but it doesn't hit it, I'll wait for the pullback like that if it gives me one, and I'll sell it. And then I'll put my stop up above there. In this case, I didn't get filled. You see. So I'll hit cancel all on that. Let's see. The ES didn't turn into anything else. The Russell didn't turn into anything else. The gold could turn into something here. Okay, the NQ did have a short right here that went about 20, 30 ticks into profit. 20 ticks into profit, maybe. 15 ticks into profit, something like that. The gold right now, I think it's too high. It's got a high here, 26.1, and it can't go any higher than that. And it did, so it is too high. You're not going to have a trade on the gold. Okay. Sorry, I was saying how bad the markets have been, and then they just give up a couple of trades right in a row here. I didn't get that one. I did get, let me just write down this. I did get a little bit on this ES trade right here. Okay. And that's the only one. I missed this one. That actually wasn't a trade. Okay, good. It wasn't a trade. I didn't miss it. Alright, so the thing that I wanted to show you, or that I was trying to point out for you, is this feature, this new feature that we have right here. Randy. This new feature that we have right here, when price actually hits the overbought or hits the oversold, it changes color, because there will be a lot of times where it comes close to it, but it doesn't actually hit it. And you know, in the heat of the market, when things are moving around really fast, I hate to have to stop doing what I'm doing and then spread it out so I can make sure that it hit it or not. Okay, and there's another thing about this, when it's hit the market and it looks like it's come out but it hasn't. If this doesn't change color, it hasn't come out. If it does change color, that means it has come out, and sometimes it'll kind of weave right back in, something like this. If it's come out, it's got to go all the way into the overbought to be able to take another trade in that direction. Okay. I'm trying to find, I knew I had an example of that today at some point. Something like this right here, where it came out of the oversold. Alright, right here. After it comes out of the oversold, after it turns from green to white, it has to go all the way into the overbought and then back down before you can take another trade in that direction. That's my rule anyway. Might not be your rule, but that's my rule. And I don't know how that would apply on this particular one right here. Well, it was red, so you would have been looking for shorts anyway. You would have had a short right there. Your next one right here, see it changed to blue, so you would have been looking right here. It wasn't a trade. Okay, anyway, I want to slide this up. I liked it better when I was just showing you this. I'm not distracted by the market so much. Alright, does anybody have any questions about any of this stuff? Because this was, it's not anything really new. It's a new feature that allows you to see things more clearly. Like this one right here, you can see it didn't hit the oversold. So right there, you know it didn't hit the oversold. So you wouldn't have anything there if it were going to be something that your trade was dependent upon. Okay, and this didn't hit the oversold either. So you just have to wait. Alright. Everybody good with all that? This was actually a trade right here on the ES that I didn't see. The midpoint was flat, so you could have taken this when it came out of the overbought right there. The gold needs to hit the midpoint. You see how it hasn't hit the midpoint here. Now, if you get a down close on this bar like that, it's going to go sideways down here, flat down here. And now we could have an up close on this, and that would be perfect. Alright. Now it's not going to be, it's too far away right now. See how the up close was below the midpoint? It's too far away. Alright. You took the ES trade. This one right here, Wayne? Or this one back here? Or both? Okay. How did you get my explanation of the line color changes down here? Are you talking about the red and... You talking about this line change or this line change? Because the colors of this, you can make those all the same, if that's what you're talking about now. Okay, that is this is for the conservative type trade. Okay, yeah, alright. You can make them all blue if you want. You don't really have to consider it. Those other ones, they go back to the conservative trade. If you go in here, the conservative bars, that's where they're from. Alright, and and the conservative bars were based upon this going into the overbought or the oversold, and whether or not you take a trade every time it goes into the overbought or oversold. Okay, there's a whole video all about that. Okay, did I say the midpoint has to be straight? I like it to be flat, Sharon, for one bar. Alright, for one bar before you actually take the trade. I like to be flat, like this right here. Well, this is several bars, but a down close here right now on the Russell would be a short. 47.2 down to 46.2 is what it would be. Here it is. This is what it looks like on the dome. Okay, and yes, that is what I like to see, Sharon. I like to see the midpoint be flat for at least the bar before the actual trigger. I don't like to have a trade like this. It's where the midpoint is still changing. Okay, because it hasn't really established a midpoint at that. if it's moving like that, it's like a moving target. Alright, so we have a high here of 0.5 now. Alright, so the NQ changed directions on us. Now, one of the things that I had noted was, well, kind of this, but this isn't really what I wanted to look at. Let me go back out here for a second. Alright, let me save this. Let me jump off to this one right here. Okay, so we're not getting a trade here on the Russell. It's too far away right now, you see. So I'll just hit cancel all on that. The thing that I wanted to see was this right here. Alright, so the daily ES. Now, Friday, I was saying, if this gets down here by the end of the day, or whenever it gets down there, you should look to buy call options, right, down to this BBC point right here. And yesterday morning it was way down here, so I bought call options yesterday morning. And what I was looking for was for it to get back up to this level here, retracement 50% level of this whole thing, which is the midpoint right here. So we did get up above that today. We're up above it pretty nicely. But if you look at this on the SPY, okay, on the SPY, then we had this huge move down yesterday, and I bought the SPY down here. I bought call options on down here, and it started to move up pretty well today. I'm expecting, with the volatility that we should have coming over the next couple of days, that we should get a little more movement on the upside in it, I think. The whole reason I did it is because price had pulled all the way back down to here, well down below the midpoint, but I was anticipating it was going to make it back up to the midpoint and then probably back up to the all-time high right there. Now, when I look at options, I'm sort of trying to transition into the options. I look for big moves down on the indexes, and then I'll go to the options that are associated with those indexes. Like the NQ's got the QQQ, the Russell's got the RLM, the ES has got the SPY. So I look for the indexes that are associated with those options, or the ETFs that are associated with those options. That are associated with those indexes. I said that backwards. I look for the ETFs that are associated with the indexes. So when I see a huge move down on the daily chart on the ES, if you make this right here a daily, then that makes me want to go and look at where it's moved down to, and where it should bounce from, and where it should bounce to. So yesterday, when it made this huge move down, I was thinking that if we could get back up above and close up above the midpoint, we got up above the midpoint, the open today, but I was thinking if we could close up above the midpoint by the end of the day today, then by the end of the day tomorrow, or by the end of the day Friday, we should be up here. Now the options that I bought expire on Friday, so that's part of the yeah, that's Friday's options, Sharon. So that's part of the deal when you buy options. And you can buy them on a bunch of different expiration dates. I usually buy weekly options, and I like to get them at the beginning of the week and expire the same week, so I'm not holding them over the weekend. Okay, the whole holding over the weekend thing can work out in your favor sometimes. If something big happens over the weekend. But if you've known me for any length of time, I don't like to hold anything overnight. And options is just another thing, even though the risk is, the maximum risk is whatever you paid for the options, as long as you're buying them and not selling them. The maximum risk is what you paid for the options. But that's what I like to do. Okay, so that brings me to something else, I think. Did I have it over here? Here's something. Here, I wanted to look at this and show you this. Now, Google had some good news today, and you can see some of these Google options right here today. We're up, a huge amount. And let's just go look at Google, right? So this is what these options are up today, right? This one's up $2.85 to $3.03. So it started off at 15 cents or 20 cents this morning, and it's now at $3. So it's up thousands of percent, which is great. If you can get a hold of one of those, it's great. But the majority of the time, options expire worthless. The thing you have to remember with options is if you start to get profit in, if you get 20, 40, 60, 50%, something like that, take some profit, because it goes away as quickly as it comes. Like this stuff right here, where it's up 1,500% right now. The other end of that spectrum is right here. It drops almost 100% in a day, and that happens a lot, right? So my thing about options is it's risky. When you hit it right, it's usually a good thing. The ETFs are easier to trade, I think. They're usually pretty liquid as far as options go, and that is another thing that you have to consider when you're buying or selling an option. Let me Let me just click on this right here. Okay, now this is just a random thing from from Yahoo Finance. Okay. Actually, let's not do that one. Let's look at the things that you have to look at with an option. You look at the expiration date, of course, the current price, the bid and the ask, the spread, because usually you can put an offer in, a limit offer in between the spread, and depending how liquid it is, you usually get a fill there. Look at the open interest, right? You want to see the amount of open interest there is. This volume, but you want to see open interest too. You don't want something that's got zero open interest. I think that one right there was open interest. I'm trying to spread it out so you can see more. Well, I don't know. I thought just clicking on it would help. But you can. The open interest is something that you want to have. You want it to have a lot of open interest, because you have to have somebody that's going to be on the other side of it. You know, if you're going to sell it, you want somebody that's going to buy it. And if there's no open interest, you're not going to have anybody that's going to buy what you're selling. Okay. Oops. Do that. So I know this is just a really quick explanation of how options work, but there's a lot of things in options. You know, the Greeks, the delta, the theta, all that stuff. And that comes into play when you're actually choosing options. Like when I choose options, I like to choose something that's usually 1 or 2 out of the money, because they usually price pretty well, and it doesn't take long to get in the money. And the change, which is the delta per price movement, is usually pretty good when it's 1 or 2 out of the money like that. And I guess, does anybody know what out of the money means, and in the money and all that? When I talk about out of the money, if you're buying an option, like let's say we're buying an option on the NQ, and we're buying something, an option, we're going to buy a call at 23,355. All right, that's out of the money. We're way away from that. All right, but if I were going to buy a call at 23,335, it's already way in the money. It's already well above that, so it's already in the money. Okay, so out of the money is when, for instance, when you're buying a call that is below the strike price, and in the money is when you're buying a call. I'm sorry, out of the money. In the money is when you're buying a call that is below the strike price. Out of the money is when you're buying a call that is above the strike price. That's what I mean to say. So, just a quick refresher about options. I had something in here I wanted to show you. Is it this one? Let me see this, and then we'll go there. Do we have any trades right now? We don't have any trades right now, do we? No. This is NQ. I gotta put the S back on the 7 range. Okay, the ES actually did have a trade here a minute ago. It's late to get into now. It's already gone into profit. Right, nothing else is having a trade right here. So let me jump something else that I wanted to show you. That's not it. Well, that's kind of it. I want to show you that. That's something I'm working on. This one. Yeah, this is it right here. This is that Google chart. That Google that was up 1,000%, whatever it was. See, on the 200 range or the 250 range, one of these. Anyway, both of these actually. We got an indication yesterday. That is yesterday, right? Wednesday the 20th, I guess. We got an indication a few days ago. Last week, the week before, on this Google to go long over here. And that would have gotten you in that option well before you had that move up right there. But this is what it looks like on this. And if you want to put it on the SPY, this is the swing trade feature, right? So this is a swing trade suggesting you should have gone long here yesterday, right? So the beauty of this, I mean, you can see how the swing trade, how well the swing trade works with this. And if you're buying options, your risk is based upon what the option costs when you buy it. If you're buying an option, there's no we're not going to go into selling options right here because it's unlimited risk when you sell options. But but like here, if you were to buy some calls right here, you know, you just have to hold on to it for a few days. Usually, you know, if you buy it, like this was on Tuesday, it was yesterday morning, and I actually bought down here. Excuse me. But if you get the swing trade trigger like that, you know, you could buy options based on that and just hold on to it for a few days, and usually it's going to work out pretty well. Here you would buy puts and get that one. Here you would buy calls. Here you would buy calls. Here you would buy calls. Here you would buy puts. Right here you would buy a call, and when it started going the wrong way, you just sell it. You know, it might still be worth something pretty good when it starts going the wrong way on you. You might still get some value out of it. You don't necessarily lose everything. What qualifies a trade setup? Well, just if you're using the swing trade feature like this on the 250 range, for instance, on the SPY, anytime you get a black arrow, you could look to buy call options. Or anytime a black arrow going up, or anytime you get a black arrow going down, you can look to buy put options. That's all there is, right? You can use the swing trade feature, right? Exactly, because the swing trade feature is looking to find the tops and bottoms. It's looking to find the end of a trend. Okay, and you know pretty quickly, if it goes beyond the bar that got you into the trade, then usually it's, you know, it's not going to work out. You know, something like, most of these worked out, but something like this one right here, right, where it struggled for a while. This was on Wednesday, May 21st, and by the 23rd, by Friday the 23rd, it was all the way down here. So you gotta remember, as days go by, time is you're losing time value in the options. Yes, Brad. The question was, do you get the black arrow with the close of the bar? And it is at the close of the bar that the black arrow appears. The gray arrow appears before the black arrow. So when you get a gray arrow, it actually in the alert text in here. Let's see. Well, any one of these has a star on it. Says nope, not that one. And one of the ones that has a star on it that is a notice. Here it is right here. Here's one. If you look at this, TVT swing buy likely on the up close of the next bar. So this was at whatever time this was at 15:28. Is this today? The second. This was yesterday. Okay, so that is saying on the NQ yesterday, right here, I think it was. Or was it here? It was yesterday. I think it was this one right here. It was saying when it gave you this right in here, it was saying get ready for a buy on the next bar. Whenever you get one of these gray arrows like this, Brad, that's pointing up, it will give you the notice over here that says get ready for a buy on the up close of the next bar. Alright, and if it closes down, well, it's not your bar. But when it finally closes up, you're going to get one that it's not going to happen on everyone. Not every gray one is going to, obviously not every gray one is going to have a black after it, and not every series of gray ones will have a black after it. But but it'll let you know. It gives you a warning, a little bit of a notice ahead of time to let you know that the black arrow is likely to be on the next bar if you get an up close on the next bar. Okay, that's what that does. So you get the black arrow with the close of the bar, Brad. Right. And so if you just use the swing trade feature, and you see how I have all the bars painted white in here? I did that kind of on purpose. I mean, I can take that off. It's actually down in here. If I shut that off, it is... I can put that back on. But I added another bar color thing in here too, somewhere. Oh, I added it in this one. This guy right here. This is where I added it. This bar color. Okay, if I shut that off, then it's just the regular paint bars. But this is part of the new feature that I added, where I get that and that, and this is something I'm working on. All right, it's not something you have yet, but it's something I'm working on. And what it suggests is, if you get a red one of these, then the open of the next bar you should sell. If you get a blue one, the open of the next bar you should buy. Red one you should sell, 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 blue one you should buy. It's basically, it's looking for rid of the next bar. Okay, and it happens, it makes a decision every time the trigger goes into the overbought or oversold. Depends on what is going on with this other line that I created in here. It's supposed to give you a little bit of a heads up as to what's going to happen next. Brad, this is all part of TV trades. Everything that I'm showing you in here is TV trades. Okay. So to get TV trades, I guess I don't even have it up here. Just go to TVTrades.com. Yeah, just go to TVTrades.com. Click on this. You can start a trial right there. Just click on that and you'll start the free trial. It's $25 a week, $9 a month, and $9.97 a year. Okay, that is the deal. Oops, this is the one. Okay. But that's it. And you can try it out. I mean, go sign up and you get a free trial. And you can let me know if you don't want it. And it's easy enough to start it up for you and shut it down for you. Okay. And a little conflict with the swing trade signals. Are these? They wouldn't be in conflict with them. They'd work with them. They wouldn't be in conflict with them. I mean, the swing trade signal is going to go up, right? You don't really... What I was looking at with those is this, right? I was looking at that all by itself as a standalone thing. Wayne, it's not anything yet. Wayne, it's not anything yet. But when I do actually create something with it, you know, I was seeing all sorts of different applications with it. You know, when I created it just the other day. You know, it's still very early yet. When I created it just the other day, the main thing that I noticed is when this goes into the overbought or oversold, this is usually leading in the other direction if it's going to change, if it's actually going to change. It's usually leading in the other direction. And you know, the math behind it, is very similar, but the math behind the red one here looks at up and down closes and a series of things like that. So the math behind it is, it's sequential as far as the bar price action goes with the range bars. You know, it doesn't work nearly well if you try to use it on like a minute bar or something like that. Let's say a 5-minute bar. It doesn't work nearly as well with a 5-minute bar. It works great with the range bars, but it doesn't work very well at all with these guys. See, you don't see any signals in there. But you know, with the range bars, it does well. But we're really talking about the swing trade stuff, not so much this. You know, if I shut that guy off, let me go in here and shut it off. There it is. Oh, I guess that shuts everything off. And it kind of left something else on. Alright, we'll turn that on and shut the bars off. There we go. No, I don't know. I guess what I was trying to do was make it so it was all white again. That's what I'm trying to do. That would be right here. Where was that? I just saw it. Here it is right here. Make them all white again. Okay, because when it's all white, it's easier to see the swing trade stuff. I think. And like this. No, and with the swing trade stuff, all you have to do is put that on. You don't need to have anything else on. Just put it on whatever time frame you like. You know, we have people that are having a lot of success with different time frames. You can't log into that. I don't know why you'd want to log into that part. But you know, we have some guys that are trading. Hang on, hang on, let me see. Joe had texted me a little while ago that Joe said he is using the swing trades on, there it is, a 39 range. So he's using swing trades on, well, I don't have a 39 range, that's odd. Okay, I'll add custom interval and do 39. Yeah, 39, that's what he picked. range. And that's what he's using, this guy right here. And he said he's doing really well with it. Now, he's quitting. When he gets to whatever his goal is not $100 per contract, but I think his goal is like $700 or something like that, $750. But he's quitting when he gets to his goal, and he said he's having a lot of success with it. Just using it on the 39 range. And you can see that it does work well. Okay? But you're all set. You don't have to worry about it. You're all set. You are all set in everything. Okay? Some people wouldn't be that way, But you see, the swing trade thing is actually a pretty cool feature, and you should really use it by itself. Okay? When I do improve upon the trigger, that's not going to have an effect on the swing trade feature. You still use the swing trade feature by itself. If you start adding everything else to it, like the TV trades and TV trades colors, you're only taking longs on blue backgrounds and shorts on red backgrounds, that's actually not going to work out well, because these are made to happen at the end of the trend, so they're going to be opposite the background color most of the time. I'll show you. If you just throw the TV trades on here, and you'll see the shorts with the blue background and the longs with the red background actually work better. So, that's it's because, yes, the swing trade feature is good with options. It is. And you don't have to just use it for this. You can use it for anything. Like we were just looking at Google, right? Google. And see, Google's $200, so you can do this on 100 range or something like that. But you can buy options based upon this. Like 100 range might be, that's too small. You want to have something that's really going to give you 1 or 2 trades a day, and maybe 150. Something's just going to give you 1 or 2 indications a day. And at the beginning of the day, like right here, you would consider buying call options when you get this. Alright, and bail on it when you get the first gray arrow. Okay, or right up here, consider buying puts when you get this, and bail on it when you get the first gray arrow going in the other direction. Alright? Yeah, and Wayne's saying he uses Google. Google has better option spreads. But I'm just showing you that you can do it with anything. You can do Apple, and I'm just randomly picking stocks here. Now Apple's $234, so 150. I just gotta look at how many signals you get per day. Really, with swing trade signals, you don't really want to have a whole bunch of them every day. You can use it. This is one of the things I went into probably a month ago. That the tool works on all time frames, but it was designed to work on larger time frames. But something that's priced $100, $200, if you want 1 or 2 trades a day, then go to a smaller time frame. If you want like 1 or 2 trades a week, then go to a much larger time frame. And you can make your decisions based upon that. Like this was Thursday the 21st, said to buy, and this is Apple. Thursday the 28th, it said to sell. And you see it went down some from where it said to sell, and it went up quite a bit from where it said to buy. But you can do it on anything you want. This is a company I worked at for a long time, and they're $104. So a 250 range on that, you're only going to get 1 trade every other day or something like that. So you probably don't want to do a 250, but something like this would be just right. Right? So the idea, if you're going to do it, the idea would be to short it, or buy puts when you get the down arrow right here, and hold on to it until you get a gray arrow going the other way. Buy calls. You can't really hold on. You can't really hold on to it until you get the gray arrow going the other way. You have to look at your expiration date. That you have to take that into consideration as well. But you'd expect it to go up at least to the prior swing high. You'd expect this to go down to the prior swing low, which hasn't done yet. That's what you'd expect out of the trade. It's all the same. It's just a bigger time frame. That's alright. No pressure, Bart. No pressure. Alright, let's go back and see if we have any trades. Okay. I'll go back here. Because right now we still just have the one trade that we took. That we made a little money on. Nothing here, nothing here, nothing here. I don't think we missed anything either, did we? A long trade right there that didn't go anywhere. Alright. I want to make sure I answer everybody's questions. We're about halfway through the meeting right now. We've only got one trade in. So, going back to answer Wayne's question, I don't know if I read it out loud, but he said, what if they conflict with the other signals? If the swing trade signals, or if the new signals that I was showing conflict with the swing trade signals, or any other signal. Oops, didn't mean to go to this one. This one. Or any other signals. Now, let me show you something. Here, let's put this on. And when we put it on, we'll put the longs and shorts on there. Okay, so now you have the red ones and you have the blue ones. Now, the red ones and the blue ones work great by themselves. But if you have those going along with the swing trade signals, there's going to be a lot of times where they don't go in the same direction. Okay? Now, one of you fellas had noticed that when you get one of these, it usually runs into one of those. And so you could get one of these and stay in it until you get one of these. Get one of these and stay in it until you get one of these. But you're going to run into conflicting signals sometimes. And which one do you choose? Well, remember, these swing trade signals are there to happen at the end of a trend. And these guys right here are there to happen at the beginning of a trend. I mean, the end of a trend is usually the beginning of a trend, but these happen a little bit after the beginning of the trend. See, the beginning of the trend would be right here. And this happens a little bit after the beginning of the trend. These are designed to happen at the end of the trend. This is the end of the trend right here. And they're designed to happen at the end of the trend. Okay. So after you get one of these, you should end up with one of these guys going in the opposite direction. Every now and then you're going to have something like this that happens, and this week you would have stopped out on this anyway, right? So right here you would have stopped out on that, and then you get the actual signal going in the opposite direction, and that's okay. Okay. That was Wayne. I just wanted to point that out because you're asking about conflicting signals. Really, the swing trade is designed to be alone. But I forgot which one of you guys it was that picked up on this. When you get these, they usually go to one of those. You get this, it usually goes to one of those. And that's, when it stops out, it stops out. It's just the way it is. Alright, let me go see if we have any other trades triggering. See, when you get a gray one like this, what this suggests right now, if I had everything turned on this is, well, I don't have an STT. Let me show you how to set the alerts, in case anybody in here is here for the first time. These things, pretty much everything has an alert to it, but these guys right here, to set an alert on that, you can go over here to the TVT swing trade, click on the three dots. You can click on this too, but if you do it directly from here, click on the three dots, do add alert on STT swing trade, or TVT swing trade. Then you go in here to the message, you can type in here what it is. Alright, so this would be STT 100 range. Alright, type in there what it is, and then in here, how do you want to be notified? Like if I leave this in here, it's going to go into the swing trade channel. If I leave this notification on here, it'll go into the swing trade channel whenever one of these triggers. And that's not a bad thing. State Street is something that if it gives a swing trade, you'd want to know if you're trading it. And all I have to do down here, for me, I have opened an alert, but for you guys, if you don't have premium, if you have less than premium, it's going to have like a 30-day limit on that. You're going to have to make sure that stays active. But the notifications right now is going to notify me on my phone in the mobile app, and it's going to go out to the Telegram channel. Alright, so I hit create on that, and there it is right there. Alright. Now the text that actually comes out when the alert triggers is generated from the code, and you can see that in here. So when this actually created, this actually hit, if you read the text that actually comes out, that is written in the code. It says TVT swing by, gives you the date, the time, and I missed putting a space in there right after the word signal right there. You see it? Right before the word signal. Signal bar close price, and it gives you all that information. Okay. How do you set up a box which shows high-low close on the bar you want to hover over when you hover over the bar? You click on this right here, Darrell, then click on data window, and if you hover over it, just watch right here, open high-low close is right there. Okay, for everyone. That's one way you can do it. If you have the TV trades on, it also shows you from the open to the top of the bar and from the open to the bottom of the bar, right here on every single bar. Okay, Daryl. The question was, how do you set up a box which shows the high-low open close on a bar when you hover over the bar? They're all right here. You can also set it up to be up here, but it's easier to read right over here. All right. Again, to do that, you just click on this thing right here, and then click on data window. Right, it also shows all these other things for every indicator that you have in there. Anything that I chose to display will be displayed in there too. Okay. I think I was doing something in here to show true or false when these conditions were met. And do I have a method for getting out of option trades? Is it just placing a sell limit and waiting for it to fill? That's kind of a tough question now, because options I kind of have the way that I do it is I have sort of what I expect out of a trade, right? What I expect the market to do, and if the market does what I expect it to do, then I just exit. But I look, like 20%, 30%, something like that. If I can get that on a single option, then that's great. Something you might want to think about, and this used to be for these guys right here, but now that we have the swing trade functionality with it, featured with it, there's going to be many more of these opportunities where if you have a stock, let me show you. I'm kind of going to answer your question with more information than you probably wanted, hell, but if you had a stock, just let me go and look at a random stock over here. Okay, let's choose anything in here. Here's Netflix. Let's do that one. Or Meta. $736. Okay. So, in the past, what I would say is, if at the end of the day, in the last half hour of the trading day, like between 3:30 and 4, you were to get a blue arrow or a red arrow, if you got a blue arrow, you can consider buying calls right at the end of the day on whatever that is, because usually by the next morning you're gonna have like a 20 to 30% gain on that. All right. And if you had a red arrow at the end of the day, in the last 30 minutes of the day, that being the equity trading day between 3:30 and 4 o'clock, if you had a red arrow, then you could buy puts at the end of the day, and usually by the next morning, by the time you get up the next morning, you're going to have a good gain on it. Now that we have the swing trade functionality, that also goes for that, because it used to not happen all that often if you're waiting for this arrow or this arrow to happen in the last half an hour, but now that we have the swing trade functionality, it happens a lot more often. So, you can set something up to let you know that you have a swing trade on whatever equity it is you want to follow. Like with Meta, you can see right here, this is Meta, and the swing trades worked well on it. Not everyone gave a profit. This one here didn't, but this one did, 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 this one didn't. But I guess I should say that a little slower. Right? And then I want to go see if we have any trades. if at the end of the day you get a swing trade indication or one of these indications, either one of those, to go long, then you should consider buying call options on whatever it is at the end of the session. Alright, if it hasn't already moved, consider buying call options at the end of the session. The maximum risk is what you pay for the option, but usually by the next morning, it's going to increase by 20 to 30%. Okay? Or more. Sometimes a lot more. Okay, let me jump off here and go back here and see if we have any trades yet. Nothing there. You see how it didn't go into the oversold right there? On this, it's not green down there at the bottom. See, so you know it didn't hit the oversold. Right there. Right there. It didn't hit the oversold. Because it's not green. That's why I created that, so you can see things like that without having to expand it. Because normally I'd have to expand it and say, okay, well, it didn't really hit it, did it? And it's really close, so you wouldn't really know. But now you can clearly see that it did hit it. So this bar right here on the NQ, if it hits the midpoint and gives you an up close, you're going to have a trade. Here on the S, it didn't finish the cycle, so you're not going to have a trade there. Here on the Russell, that is actually a trade right there on the Russell. Russell Dom is, but that is actually a trade right there on the Russell. You've already taken care of it all, Bart. You don't need another payment link. Again, the end of week options. It's not just the end of week, Sharon. It's the end of every single day. But the options that I choose are usually Friday options. They usually expire on Fridays. Right? But when you look out at options, there are expiration dates. The weekly options, there's expiration dates that you can choose from pretty much every day of the week. But I do the weekly options. There's my mosquito guys here. Here. Bart, you took care of that last week on Friday. So you are all set, my friend. Alright. We don't have any trades right here. It's 323. We have that one trade so far. So we're up $250. Let's bring our average down. We need a big NQ trade. We have the Russell trade. That hasn't done anything yet. We don't have anything over here in gold yet. And nothing here on the NQ. Okay, the gold, you see how it just came out of the overbought? It reset the midpoint where it came out of the overbought. So now it's going to go to the oversold and get back into the overbought. There's the oversold, so now it's going to get back into the overbought to give us a trade. Okay? So let me go and show you something, Sharon. Okay, we'll do it on Yahoo Finance. Oops. Do it on Yahoo Finance. Videos, personal finance. I know we have options selected right here, but that's not really what I want to see. Do high open interest. If you go in here, if we look at the underlying symbol, and we click on that, and then, here we go, click on options over here now. Alright, so these are different expiration dates for this particular option. And this is what is shown right here, all strike prices. These are different expiration dates. These are weeklies right here, September 5th, 12th. These all expire on Friday. Alright, those are all weekly options. So we go and choose one of those. Okay, that's what you would look for. It doesn't get emailed, Bart. It doesn't get emailed. You have to go out and Telegram and get it. Okay. Yeah, let me just see here. This is it. Hang on a sec. Copy. what you're asking is if I get the red blue arrow at the end of the day when you buy an option expiring the next day. You get the red blue arrow whenever it triggers. Hang on. Let me show you what I mean. I think I'm not answering your question properly. I don't think. Let me art dot hang on. There. Send that. Get rid of that. Move that. And hopefully answer your question, Sharon. I was saying if you get the arrow at the end of the day, buy and hold overnight. Yes. That's what I'm saying for options, though. If you get the... what I mean is this. Let me go back there and show you. Just a second, I just lost my Russell Dawn. Here it is. This is a trade here on gold too. And there's a little bit of a spread on gold. Just kind of frightens me a little bit, but this down close right here on gold is a valid trade, but it's changing the background color on us. Excuse me. Alright, so Sharon, what I'm saying is, if you have your swing trade thing on whatever symbol it is, okay, whatever symbol it is, if it's, let's just go Goog, okay, and you have swing trade set on that, and it happens to be at the end of the day, in the last half hour, then you go and look at, if it's like on a Thursday, you're probably not gonna want the option for the next day. You're probably gonna want the option for the week after. So if it doesn't happen overnight, you still have a little time, but you're gonna pay more for that time value. Okay, if it's on like a Wednesday, I mean, you're really just looking for it to happen at the open, looking for the change to happen at the open the next day. But if it's like the day after, then that one day overnight, the time value in that in that one day is pretty significant. Okay, the gold trade that I just showed you is starting to run. I'm going to break even. I'm going to lock in a couple of ticks on that. Let's go look at the gold really quick, okay? It's always on top, and gold trade was right in here. It was this one right here. Background changed color after the trade triggered. It was right here that it triggered. Alright. Lock in 3 ticks. And it should make it down here to the swing low is where it should go down to. There it goes. Lock in 5. That's $500. And the swing low is down at what? 19.5. So all the way down here is where it should go. I don't know if it's going to, but we're going to lock in 12. And we're out with 12. I think that was 12. It's 0.8 down to 0.4. Actually, that was 14. So that was a good one. It's right there. Alright. Let me put that in the thing. One gold. This guy right here. 14. Okay. That helps a little. Alright, so Sharon, I want to finish talking about this with you. Alright. So like on Google, what I would do is go out to Google now. Out here. Yeah, in Yahoo Finance out here, I'd go to Google, right, search for Google, here it is. Then I would go to options. And then I wouldn't choose, well, it's Wednesday, so you could choose September 5th, but if I had something that said it was going to go up, then I would choose, the call that's a little bit out of the money. Like this one right here is a little bit out of the money. So I choose that one or this one right here, and and buy it. And usually by the next morning, it's gonna be in the money. Okay, that's what I would do. But that's the one that I would choose. On a Wednesday, I would choose the one that expires Friday. But on a Friday, I would choose the one that expires the next Friday. Okay, that gives you a little time. If it ends up not working, it gives you a little more time, to let the time value actually work to your benefit. You see what I mean? I don't really hold over the weekend either, Sharon. I don't like to. There's so many things that could go wrong over the weekend. There are things that could go right too, but there's more of a chance of things going wrong over the weekend than right. That's been my experience anyway. Let's go back and see if we get any more trades going here, guys. Alright. So let's change this back to the NQ. And that was on the 19 range. Okay, I guess we missed a trade back here a little while ago on that. Put the TV trades back on it. You can shut the swing trade off. Alright, so we're back here on gold. We just about have another trade right now. It's got a high right here, 20.2, so it'd be 19.2 is what you'd be selling on that. Down close at 19.2 would be another trade there on that. Okay. The NQ's just about got a trade right here. Now look at the NQ. You see how it didn't hit the midpoint? If it pulls back before it goes into profit, if it pulls back, I'll take that trade. If I can find my DOM fast enough. I'll take that trade. Find my DOM fast enough. There it is. Okay. So I just took it. I took it on the pullback now. It's got to go 10 ticks into profit for me to bump the stop to break even. So it's going to get up to 6.5 right there. Right there, 66.5. There it is. Stop to break even. Now I'll lock in some profit on that. We're in at 64. We're going to go all the way up there. That's 12 ticks in profit. Now I'm going to go all the way up to 68. That's 16 ticks. And it just actually took me on a little better than that. Let me write that down. Hold it. Oh, not there. Sorry. I don't write it down there. In here, I just put it directly into here. What did I get on that? 16 on the NQ. 16. 16 on the NQ. Okay. I think that's what I got on that. Let me go check. What is that saying? GCE. That's not right. Anyway. 16 on the NQ. The gold has a trade over here that I think I should have gone to break even on. 9.1 down to 8.5. Yeah, I just should have gone to break even on. I'm in it. I'm still in it right here. I'm going to go to break even right now because I should have gone to break even a few minutes ago. Okay, I'll lock in a couple of ticks. Now that should make it down to 17.2 right down here. Alright, that's the overall swing low is 17.2. So we have 2 ticks locked in on that, and we're out with 2 ticks on that. Let me add that to the gold. This is now 16. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm not keeping track of the number of trades. Did I have a break-even trade on the NQ too? I don't remember. This was a valid trade right here that I didn't get. Alright. Hal, do I have a method for getting out of the option trades? I set a target, like a numerical target that I want in percentages to begin with. Okay, and then I have a price area that I want it to go to, and if it gets to that price area, then I just get out. It depends how many I have. You know, if I have a whole bunch of them, then I'll get out of most of them where I think it hits my area where it's going to be done. And the rest is just gravy. You know, I don't normally scale in and out, but with options, it's pretty easy to scale in and out. With futures, it's a little more complicated. For me, anyway. Just keeping track of it is complicated for me. There's no trade here. You see right here how the midpoint is flat. It's not flat. I don't want to take that right there. It wouldn't be a trade anyway because this didn't make it into the overbought. But I wouldn't want to take that right there because of the way it's not flat. It's not set. Okay. Alright. So, I click on this. That's only 10 or 11 bucks. So you could do that. You know, every tick when using an equity like this, every tick is a penny. So on a $10 stock, you might have like, you know, a 25 range. Something like that, so every bar is a quarter. Okay, so every bar is 25 cents. And, you know, you have your signals. You can see the swing trade signals happen like days and days apart. The last one was August 8th. Is that the 8th? Maybe the 11th, something like that. That was just a random choice of Ford there. This is Tesla. Now with Tesla, you would want a 25 range. You'd probably want a 100 or a 200 range. But you see something like this. This is 1430. So it happened at 2:30 today. You got that long right there. If you took it, you're in it. But if it happened at the end of the session, but usually by the opener in the first half hour of the next session, is usually when you're going to get a quick gain on that. Okay. Let me change this back to the ES. See if we have any more trades. Now you could use this, and I do have I do have people that are using the swing trade on 100 range ES. Okay, if you take off that, they're using it on 100 range ES, and it works well for them on 100 range ES. They only get a trade every few days, but they're killing it with the trades that they do get. And that one guy, he actually has a bracket that he uses. You know, it's a big bracket. It's like a 150 by 200 tick or something like that he uses on it. So, and he gets 200 ticks more often than he loses 150. Hey, John. It's like right here on the ES. This is 100 range. This is where you would short it. You'd be shorting it right here, right now. Okay, so we probably something just popped up on my phone. We probably just got an alert on this. In here, well, a few minutes ago, we probably got an alert on this. The log. YM, Johnson & Johnson. ES 100 range, swing trade. Is this the short? Yeah, this is it right here. I guess that was the open of this bar. Yeah, the close of that bar at 1048. The open of that bar. So it was at the close of this bar at 1048 that it gave that signal right there. It said to go short. And from that entry right there, from 38.50 I think is what it said, right? Let's go down there again. 1048. On the close of the next bar, on the close of that was the NQ. Right, so it didn't give a number, but the close of the next bar was right here at 440, so it went from 440 13 points down to 427. so far. But it should get down to here. The primary swing low is what I would expect out of it. Let me bump this back down, and we'll put it back on the 7 range, and see if we have any more trades coming up. Okay, so we're doing pretty well as far as the trading goes. We haven't had that many, but out of the 4 or 5 trades that we've taken, look, SPY, 50 range TVT buy. Now this does not have the asterisk on it, so this means it's one of these. It's one of the blue arrows that's triggering that. Okay, on a 50 range, it's one of the blue arrows triggering that. The ones that have an asterisk on it like that, they're using the latest swing trade thing. Alright, but the ones that don't have an asterisk on it, they're using the blue and the red arrows that happen at the beginning of the trend or near the beginning of the trend. Okay. And yeah, well, so far, John, we've gotten 16 ticks on the NQ, 16 ticks on gold, 2 ticks on the ES, nothing on the Russell yet. Okay. So that one that just triggered just a second ago on the Microsoft 50 range. Now, if I turn it on right here, the TV trades, if I turn on this, you will see the blue arrow right there is what triggered that. Okay. Now, if I shut that off, and we put the ES back to a 7 range, back in my world, my happy place. Alright, we just about have a trade here on the gold again. It's got a low right now of 19.9, so we're buying 20.9 on that, just like this. Okay. Alright. More questions? Anybody? Triggered in on the gold. The up close we triggered in. We're 2 ticks in profit right now, and actually slipped us in our favor a little bit. Though it's not looking so good right here. It did slip us in our favor a little bit. It didn't go enough to get the stop to break even. The high of that bar is 20.9. So it filled us and then dropped down, and it gave us 2 ticks. That's weird. Okay, so that one just stopped us out. That stinks. Minus 15. It's kind of been my thing with gold today. I get up really well and then it just comes back. But so this is 1 tick now. No, I'm sorry, that's CNQ. Oops. That's still 16. This one is 1. Okay, that's 5. Yeah. Alright, we had a little bit of, that's a gapping right there on the Microsoft. So it was just a minute ago, a few minutes ago, that it gave this swing trade short right here, and then it gapped all the way down there. Wow. Okay, let's go back to the ES on that. ESU. Okay, this was nothing here, this was nothing here. See how it didn't go into the oversold? It's not green. Brad, were you able to get to what you were looking for on the TV Trades homepage? On the TV Trades, there's Target View Trades and there's TV Trades. TVTrades.com is this page, and Target View Trades, I'll go there because that is something you should all know about too. TargetViewTrades.com. this is where next week's meeting, you'll be able to join for next week's meeting right here at targetviewtrades.com. But it also has stuff in here. If you go to the more over here, go to risk management. It's got the for the different size range bars, different stops, when you should move the stop to break even, targets, all that kind of stuff. That's under more. But Hal, I think you had asked earlier about the different colored bars. All the Wednesday webinars that I do are in here. Okay, if you go to upcoming and past webinars, like today's, this was last week's, and today's will be here at the end of the day today. Well, in probably an hour. Today's will be right here. You can go to upcoming and past webinars, and that question that you had asked Hal is going to be in here somewhere. If you scroll down here and you'll find conservative trades, it'll be down here somewhere. Okay, but every webinar that I've done on the Wednesdays gets put in here. Alright, this is at targetviewtrades.com. targetviewtrades.com, and this is rules for the retracement tool. Alright, training guide. Rules for the retracement tool. There's some older stuff in here too, but like the original stuff was pretty archaic, and you can go back and see some of that. Oops, you see that, but alright, just want to point that out. Oops, not that. Back here. This is not a trade on the NQ. We didn't come out of the oversold. This was not a trade here on the Russell. We didn't come off the midpoint. This is almost a trade here on gold, but not quite. And this is not a trade on the ES because we didn't come out of the oversold. Okay. It's 3:48, so we have about 12 minutes left in here. Hopefully we get a chance to get another decent trade here. The gold's just about got one right here. It's got a high right now at 20.2, so you'd be selling 19.2 on that. On the downside, the Dom's not really giving us anything on the downside, or the upside, really, for that matter. So, we just have to see what happens. For those of you guys who don't know, right, the gold just triggered. Here it is. I'm going to break even on it. And we're out of break even on that gold. Right, it did give 5 ticks in profit. It gave 7 ticks in profit. We just ended up with a break even on that guy right there. Trades. 6. Okay. The thing that I was going to show you. Oh, Telegram. That's what I was going to show you. If you don't know, there are a bunch of Telegram channels when you join that you get access to. Alright, the swing trades that you see popping up over here, they pop up in here in the Telegram channel. TV Trade, Swing Trade channel. They all pop up in here. And this is a micros channel, micro futures channel. And just regular TV trade signals. This has got a lot of equities and ETFs in here. Just equities and ETFs in here. Okay, and you see we just got a new one right here. Google has a buy. And so this is what I was saying a few minutes ago, Sharon, if you're still watching, this is what I was saying a few minutes ago. If you get one of these at the end of the day, and you go and buy a call option, usually by the next morning, it's gonna be a pretty good gain. Alright, so if you pay attention to this channel, this the TV Trades Trade Signals channel at the end of the day, and you see these start popping up here at the end of the day, then usually by the next morning, if it doesn't happen by the end of the day, usually by the next morning, you're going to get some pretty good gains on those options. Okay, and there's also the Micro Futures channel. TV Trades Micro Futures channel. What was the other one? I thought I did that already. Swing Trades, that one. Yeah, this is a micro channel. Okay. So you get access to all those channels when you join too. Okay, how to add the signals to Telegram. You mean how to get the signals from Telegram, Hal? I'll send you an email right now that has all the Telegram channels in it. Okay, I can go through and do it individually, but I'll just send you an email and I'll show you inside the email. Let me see here. Slide that down. This is the wrong email. That stinks. Okay. Blow this up. Okay. Inside this email, this is what I'm going to send to you now. It's the welcome email, but inside here, there are 4 Telegram channels, and they're all right in here. Right, there's, that looks like a wrong one right there, but there's this one, this one, this one, and this one. So there's 4 of them in there for you to join. You just got to click on it. Click on it to join. Okay, so I'll send that to you right now. Okay. Alright. So, I wasn't watching anything over here, but did we actually get another trade? We didn't get another trade there. We didn't get one there, we didn't get one there, we didn't get one there. But everything's starting to run right now at the end of the session. That's a good thing. It's a good thing because I still have the majority of those call options that I bought. And I want it to keep running. Right. This is the daily on the ES. The daily on the SPY is what I really want to keep running. And this is good. Closing above the open today would be great. And that would set us up for the end of the week to get up in here somewhere. That's what I'm thinking. Crap. I bought the gold, and the gold is starting to run. I just went to break even on it. I'm going to lock in something. I'm in at 0.8. So I'm going to lock in 6 ticks right there. And the gold should run up to 21.7. Right, it's at 21.7. I lock in 7. Oops. 8. I'm trailing it right behind because it's as far as it should go right now. Alright, so we picked up 8 more on the gold. Is this a trade? That's not a trade right there. You see what I mean about it going as far as it should have gone? Right here, it made it up to the swing high. Right there, and that's why I was trailing the stop so close. Man, this is killing my voice doing all these webinars on Wednesdays. So we got 8 more there. That puts us at 9. Oops, I gotta add one more trade at the end. This guy. Oops, right here. 7. Alright. And the SPY, that is continuing up. An up close right here on the NQ would be a long trade. Okay, get ready for that. And another up close here on gold would be a long trade. I'm going to break even on the NQ trade right now. It triggered me in, and I'm going to lock in something. I think it just gave me all of it, did it? This is 45 ticks right there. So I am in 28 to 33. So that's 20. That's 24. And we're out with 24 more on the NQ. Alright, the gold didn't end up with a trade here yet. But we did get another 24 on the NQ. And it's actually given another one right in here. Oops. I write that down. Hang on. 24, that puts us at 40. And this at 8. Okay. And alright, so the gold triggered again here too. The NQ triggered again too, but it's already gone into profit quite a ways right there. So I missed that, and I missed the gold trade too. The Russell could have a trade here. The Russell's the only one we haven't traded yet. That could have a trade, but I think everything's starting to sell off, and we only have a few minutes left. I swear Wednesdays really challenge my voice. Maybe I should skip the morning sessions on Wednesdays. Someday. Alright. Well, we're winding down here, guys. We only have a few minutes left. Does anybody have any questions about any of the things that we've done at this point? Does anybody have any questions that I haven't answered? Here's another one on the NQ. I missed. So I missed this one, and I missed that one. Alright, you see this red right here on the blue background? That suggests that when this bar closes, if this bar closes down particularly, that the background is going to change to red. Okay? That's what that suggests. I missed that too. Alright, it did close down, but it didn't. Oh, it didn't close down yet. It's this one right here that we're waiting for. And we have 2.5 minutes. So, what was I saying just a minute ago, Sharon? The swing trades. Not the MNQ, but this guy right here. And this one right here. I thought we had a few of them up here. If you get signals at the end of the day, these guys right here, if you get any of these at the end of the day, like Microsoft at 3:42 had a call. Let's go look at that over here, because if it's in there, it's also in here. So log. There it is right here. Okay, so this was a buy at 9.3 at 15.32, and what was the price at that time? Current price 503.83. Right, so it said to buy at 503.83, and that was in here, and from there it made it up to 505. So that's not much, it's a couple percent, but it's something. With options, that's significant. It can be significant. And all this stuff is available to you guys. You get access to all these Telegram channels. So you can watch this stuff at the end of the day if you want to. And consider the options. Go in and just check it out for a little while. You know, the Google stuff. Any one of these. This is in the TV Trades Trade Signals. In the TV Trades Trade Signals, it's just got equities and ETFs. Right? It doesn't have any futures. If you go to the swing trade, it's got equities, ETFs, and futures. Okay. So you can check it all out there. Alright, so this is going to be the NQ, and I believe I'm going to wrap it up here, guys. It is just about time. We've just got another one right here. Just got another one right here. Those are signals that are popping into Telegram right now. Alright, so everything is running here at the close of business, and that's great. We want to see that. And it is 4 o'clock, right? You don't think you have access to the... You should, Sharon. I'll send you the same email I just sent to Hal, okay? When you signed up, you got the same email, but I'll send it to you too right now, okay? Does anybody else need that email? Well, I'm doing it. This is just a welcome email, but it's got all the information in it. Okay. Sent. Now my DOMs are all over the place. Gold should be over there. Russell should be there. Yes should be there. Alright, guys. That is it. We're going to wrap it up. We just about have a gold trade right here. If you look at this, we're going to have a down close right here on gold. That would be a short. So the way we're going to end it for today, we ended up plus $3,150 with 10 contracts on, 8 trades. We did have a couple of stop outs in there, but we were able to recover from not so much all the way on the gold. We were up 16, I think, on gold at one point, but we got back up to 9. We have a trade that's about to trigger right here. A trade that just did trigger right there. That, well, it could turn into something. I just shorted it right here, but it's right at break even for me right now. There it is. Now it's going to break even. Okay, we'll lock in some profit on that. There's 5. Come on, get down there. There it is. 10. 12. And we're out with 12. That'll be our last trade. 12 more. Hey, that puts us at 21. 21 on gold. Alright, that's a nice bump. That makes it 9 trades. Okay, so it worked out pretty well. So now this becomes a 18, I believe. Right, let's just check that out. If anybody wants access to this, you can have this and you can start your own if you want to. This is what I use just for in here for the Wednesday sessions. But if you want access to this, I will share it with you right now. Copy the link and say done. Here, you can have access to this. You can make a copy of it if you want to and rename it and create your own. I'll stick that out here in both of these, okay? There. Alright, that is out in both of them. So we're going to end the day with $4,350 after that last trade there on gold. We did get back up. We recovered on the gold. So after, I think it's 18 days, right? 2 to 19. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Yeah, it's 18 days. That's what I thought. So we're averaging $3,131 per Wednesday, or $313. That's with 10 contracts. With one contract, we're averaging $313 per Wednesday session. So that alone pays for the whole subscription, guys. So sign up, get started. If you only come on Wednesdays, you'll make your money back. You know, times several, times 3 on average. And that is going to be it, guys. With that, I'm going to wrap it up. Let me stop the recording in here. Okay. If you haven't taken a free trial, go to tvtrades.com. tvtrades.com. This one right here. tv-trades.com. Sign up for the trial there.